We can refuse to think certain thoughts. Look how often you have refused to think a positive thought about yourself. Well, you can also refuse to think a negative thought about yourself, too. It seems to me that everyone on this planet that I know or have worked with is suffering from self-hatred and guilt to one degree or another. The more self-hatred and guilt we have, the less our life works. We find we have an inability to speak up for ourselves, and we are always trying to please others. Or we may be angry and explosive all the time. The less self-hatred and guilt we have, the better our lives work on all levels. This includes the health of the body, too. It has been my experience that the very bottom line for everyone I have worked with is always, I'm not good enough. And we often add to this, I don't do enough, or I don't deserve. Does this sound like you? Always saying or implying or feeling that you are not good enough? But for whom? And according to whose standards? Now, if these negative beliefs are very strong in you, then how can you possibly create a loving, joyous, prosperous, healthy life? Somehow your subconscious beliefs would always be contradicting these objectives and making sure you do not obtain your goals. I find that resentment, criticism, guilt, and fear cause more problems in our bodies and in our experiences than anything else. These feelings come from blaming others and not taking responsibility for our own lives. You see, if we are all 100% responsible for everything in our lives, then there is no one to blame. Whatever is happening out there is only a mirror of our own inner thinking. I am not condoning other people's poor behavior, but we must realize it is our beliefs that attract to us people that will treat us that way. If you find yourself saying, everyone always does such and such to me, criticizes me, ignores me, takes advantage of me, or abuses me, then this is your pattern. There is some thought in you that attracts this behavior. On some internal level, you believe you deserve to be treated this way. Or you treat other people this way, and it is just coming back to you. Whatever we give out, mental, physical, or verbal, will come back to us. When we no longer think or behave this way, the other people will change their behavior, or they will go and do that to someone else who believes they deserve it. You will no longer be attracting the experiences you say you do not want. Whether we want to change a life experience or a physical problem, the place to begin is to say so. Literally say, I am willing to release the pattern within me that is creating this experience or this condition. You can say this to yourself over and over every time you think of your illness. Say this with me now. I am willing to release the pattern in me that has created this condition. The minute you say this affirmation, you are stepping out of the victim role. You are no longer helpless. You are acknowledging your own power. You are saying, I may not understand it, but somehow I am beginning to understand that I contributed to creating this problem, and now I take my own power back, and I am releasing it and letting it go. What a powerful statement to have your subconscious mind supporting. As I said, resentment of others, Criticism of ourselves, guilt over the past, and fear of the future are the most damaging mental thought patterns we can have. This kind of internal dialogue creates and maintains dis-ease in the body. These thoughts can destroy the body. Fear can contribute to baldness, ulcers, colon problems, and even painful feet, among other things. Criticism as a permanent habit can often lead to arthritis in the body. Resentment long held eats away at the body and becomes the dis-ease we call cancer. Guilt always looks for punishment and creates pain. We don't need any more anger. We need more self-acceptance and more self-love. When we can accept ourselves right now, as we are right now, without any criticism or judgment, then we are truly loving ourselves, and the negative patterns must dissolve. If we wait until we have the new job before we love ourselves, or if we wait until we lose weight before we love ourselves, or if we wait until someone else loves us before we love ourselves, then we are denying our existence right now. If we wait until we become perfect before we love ourselves, we waste our lives. We are already the perfect outer expressions of our inner understanding, and we will change. But the changes we make when we love and accept ourselves are always positive. Always. So let's release the anger and all those negative beliefs about ourselves and about life, and begin the process of accepting and approving of who and what we are in the here and now. We are always unfolding in the best way we can. The knowledge and understanding that you are already incorporating from this tape will help you to change your life and dissolve the negative patterns. No negative condition can remain in our lives when we truly love and accept ourselves. Love is the healing power. Love dissolves anger. Love gets rid of guilt. Love fades away fear. Love for ourselves is the power that heals us. When we are very little, we learn how to feel about ourselves and about life by the reactions of the adults around us. Now, if you lived with frightened people or with people who were very unhappy, then you learned a lot of negative things about yourself and about life. You may still believe them. However, this is not to blame our parents, for we are all victims of victims, and they could not possibly have taught us anything they did not know. If your mother did not know how to love herself, or your father did not know how to be gentle and kind, then it would be impossible for them to teach you to love yourself or to be gentle and kind. Your parents were doing the best they could with what they had been taught as children. I also believe that we choose our parents. Each one of us decides to incarnate upon this planet at particular points in time and space. I believe we do this because we have chosen to come here to learn a particular lesson that will advance us upon our spiritual, evolutionary pathway. We choose our sex, our color, our country, and then we look around for the particular set of parents who will mirror the pattern we are bringing in to work on in this lifetime. Often when we grow up, we point our fingers accusingly at our parents and whimper, "You did it to me." But really, we chose them because they were perfect for what we wanted to work on overcoming. As very little children, we learn our belief systems, and then we move through life creating experiences to match our beliefs. Look back in your own life and notice how often you have gone through the same experience. Well, I believe that you created those experiences over and over because they mirrored something that you believed was true about yourself. It really doesn't matter how long we have had a problem, or how big it is, or how life-threatening it is. The point of power is always in the present moment. This means that what you have experienced during your life and up to this moment, you have created by your own thoughts and beliefs of the past. However, what you are choosing to think and believe and say today, right here and right now, is creating your future. Your current internal dialogue is creating tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, etc. Notice what you are thinking at this moment. Do you want this thought to be creating your future? Is it negative or positive? Just notice and be aware. I'm not trying to create guilt for anyone, nor to make anyone wrong. I am making us aware of what is going on inside of us. Many of us who create illness and dis-ease are in fact totally out of touch with what is going on in our minds and in our bodies. We only notice our bodies when we become ill or are in pain. If we do not know what is going on inside of us, how can we ever change? No matter what the problem is, the only thing we are ever dealing with is a thought, and a thought can be changed. All our experiences are just outer effects of our inner dialogue. Even self-hatred is only hating a thought you have about yourself. You may have a thought that says, "I'm a bad person." This thought produces a feeling, and you accept the feeling as true. However, if you eliminate the thought, you won't have the feeling. Thoughts can be changed. Change the thought, and the feeling must go. Believe it or not, we do choose our thoughts. We may habitually think the same thought over and over so often that it does not seem that we are choosing the thought. But we did make the original choice. We can refuse to think certain thoughts. Look how often you have refused to think a positive thought about yourself. Well, you can also refuse to think a negative thought about yourself. It seems to me that everyone on this planet that I know or have worked with is suffering from self-hatred and guilt to one degree or another. The more self-hatred and guilt we have, the less our life works. We find we have an inability to speak up for ourselves, and we're always trying to please others. Or we may be angry and explosive all the time. The less self-hatred and guilt we have, the better our lives work, on all levels. This includes the health of the body too. Let's talk about stress and being stress-free. This is the moment in which you are either enjoying or not enjoying your life. What you are thinking now is creating the way you feel in your body now and your experiences tomorrow. If you are stressing yourself out over every little thing and making mountains out of molehills, you will never find inner peace. We talk a lot about stress these days. Everyone seems to be stressed out by something. Stress seems to be a buzzword, and we use it to the point where I think it's a cop-out. I'm so stressed, or this is so stressful, all this stress. I think that stress is a fearful reaction to life's constant changes. It is an excuse we often use for not taking responsibility for our own feelings. If we can put the blame out there on someone or something, then we can just play the innocent victim.
But being the victim doesn't make us feel good, and it doesn't change the situation. Often we are stressing ourselves because we have our priorities mixed up. So many of us feel that money is the most important thing in our lives, but this is not true. There is something far more important and precious to us without which we could not live. What is that? It's our breath. Our breath is the most precious substance in our lives, and yet we totally take for granted when we exhale that our next breath will be there. If we did not take another breath, we would not last 3 minutes. Now, if the power that created us has given us enough breath to last as long as we shall live, can we not trust life that everything else we need will also be supplied? When we trust life to take care of us and all our little problems, then stress just melts away. You do not have time to waste on negative thinking or emotions, because that only creates more of what you say you don't want. If you are doing some positive affirmations and you are not getting the results you want, then check to see how often during the day you allow yourself to feel bad, to be upset. These emotions are probably exactly what is frustrating you and delaying the manifestation of your affirmations and stopping the flow of your good. The next time you realize how stressed you are, ask yourself, what is scaring you? Stress is just fear. It's that simple. You do not need to be afraid of life or afraid of your own emotions. Find out what you are doing to yourself that is creating this fear within you. Your inner goal is joy and harmony and peace. Harmony is being at peace with yourself. It is not possible to have stress and inner harmony at the same time. When you are at peace, you do one thing at a time, and you don't let things get to you. When you feel stressed, do something to release the fear. Breathe deeply or go for a brisk walk. Remind yourself that I am the only power in my world, and I create a peaceful, loving, joyful, fulfilling life. You want to move through life feeling safe. Don't give a little word like stress a lot of power. Don't use it as an excuse to create tension in your body. Nothing, no person, place, or thing has any power over you. You are the only thinker in your mind, and it is your thoughts that create your life. So train yourself to think thoughts that make you feel good. That way, you will always be creating your life out of joy and in joy. Joy always brings more to be joyous about.
Fear comes from not trusting the process of life to be there for us. You know, the most precious thing in our life is our breath. If you did not take another breath, you would not last 3 minutes. Yet you have such faith that your next breath will be there, that you don't even think about it when you exhale. Now, if the power that created us has given us enough breath to last for as long as we shall live, can we not begin to trust that the rest will also be provided for us? The next time you are frightened, think about the abundance of air and say, I trust the process of life to take care of me. Yes, it is true that when you were a child, there were some difficult times. Times when you felt lonely, unwanted, and unloved. Perhaps you were rejected or abandoned or even abused and humiliated. Yes, I know there were some terrible times. Some of them may have been so awful you don't even remember them. But the past has no power over you if you choose to live in the now. The point of power is in the present moment. Each moment is a new beginning, and this moment is a new beginning for you right here and right now. So let's take the past, all of it, and wrap it up in the pink of divine love and release it and let it go. We affirm that you are now free. You are not your mother nor her fears. You are not your father nor his beliefs. You are not any of the relatives nor their opinions. You are not the teachers at school nor their rigidity. And you are certainly not the limitations of your early religious upbringing. You are yourself, a divine, magnificent expression of life. You are unique and special and wonderful, one of a kind. Since time began on this planet, there has never been another person like you, and there never will be. Therefore, there is no competition and no comparison. You have your own unique talents and abilities and your own special way of expressing them. You are worthy of your own love and your own self-acceptance, not because of what you have done, but just because you exist.
It has been my experience that the very bottom line for everyone I have worked with is always, I'm not good enough. And we often add to this, I don't do enough, or I don't deserve. Does this sound like you? Always saying or implying or feeling that you are not good enough. But for whom? And according to whose standards? Now, if these negative beliefs are very strong in you, then how can you possibly create a loving, joyous, prosperous, healthy life? Somehow your subconscious beliefs would always be contradicting you and making sure you do not obtain your goals. I find that resentment, criticism, guilt, and fear cause more problems in our bodies and in our experiences than anything else. These feelings come from blaming others and not taking responsibility for our own lives. You see, if we are all responsible for everything that happens in our lives, then there is really no one to blame. Whatever is happening out there is only a mirror of our own inner thinking. I am not condoning other people's poor behavior, but we must realize it is our beliefs that attract to us people that will treat us in that way. If you find yourself saying, everyone always does such and such to me, criticizes me, ignores me, takes advantage of me, or abuses me, then this is your pattern. There is some thought in you that attracts this behavior. On some internal level, you believe you deserve to be treated this way. Or you treat other people this way, and it is just coming back to you. Whatever we give out, mental, physical, or verbal, will always come back to us. When we no longer think or behave in this way, the other people will change their behavior, or they will go and do that to someone else who believes they deserve it. You will never find working a pleasure if you hate your job or you can't stand your boss. What a terrible affirmation that is. It will be impossible for you to ever attract a great job with that belief system. If you want to enjoy your time at work, then you must change your thinking. I'm a great believer in blessing with love every person, place, and thing at the workplace. Begin with your current job. Affirm that this job is merely a stepping stone to far greater positions. You are in your current job because of the things you believed in the past. You drew it to you by your thinking. Perhaps you learned your attitude towards work from your parents. No matter, you can change your thinking now. So bless with love your boss, your coworkers, the location, the building, the stairs or elevators, the rooms, the furniture, and each and every customer. This creates a loving mental atmosphere within you, and the whole office will respond to it. I have never understood the reasoning behind putting down or berating others at work. If you are an owner, a manager, or a supervisor, how can you possibly expect to get the best work from others if they are frightened or resentful? We all want to be appreciated, acknowledged, and encouraged. If you support your employees and give them respect, then they will give you the best work they can. Now, please don't believe that it is hard to get a job. That may be true for many, but it does not have to be true for you. You only need one job, and your consciousness will open the pathway for you. Don't have faith in fear. When you hear of negative trends in business or in the economy, immediately affirm, "That may be true for some, but it is not true for me. I always prosper no matter where I am or what is going on." People often ask me for the affirmations to make their relationships at work be smoother. In fact, for many people, this is a really big issue in their lives. I am deeply aware that whatever I give out comes back to me multiplied, and this is true everywhere, including at work. In the workplace, it is important to know that every employee and employer has been attracted by the action of love, for it's his and her divine right place here and now at this point in time and space. Divine harmony permeates us all, and we can all flow together in the workplace in a most productive and joyous way. There aren't any problems that don't have solutions. There aren't any questions without answers. Choose to go beyond the problem to seek the divine right action solution to any discord that may seem to appear. Be willing to learn from any discord or confusion as it comes up. It's important to release all blame and turn within to seek the truth. And be willing to release whatever pattern may be in your consciousness that has contributed to the situation. Know that you are successful in all that you do. You're inspired and productive. You serve others willingly and gladly. Divine harmony reigns supreme within and around you, and within and around each and every person in your workplace. When you know and declare that it's possible to successfully operate in the workplace according to divine principles, then divine love brings to you those who can be helped by that which you so lovingly do. Now, if you like your job but feel you're not getting paid enough, then bless your current salary with love. Expressing gratitude for what you do have enables it to grow. And absolutely no more bitching about the job or coworkers. Your consciousness put you where you are now. Your changing consciousness can lift you to a better position. You can do it. During your workday, there are a number of things you can do to release tension. Here are a few ideas. 1. Before you go to work every day, do this simple exercise. Just sit comfortably and concentrate on your breath. Whenever you notice thoughts coming in, gently bring your awareness back to your breath. Give yourself at least 10 or 15 minutes to dwell in the silence each day. There is nothing difficult or tricky to this, and it's worth taking the time. 2. Write or type this affirmation and put it where you can see it at work. My job is a peaceful haven. I bless my job with love. I put love in every corner, and my job lovingly responds with warmth and comfort. I am at peace. When you start to think about your boss, say this affirmation to yourself. I only give out that which I wish to receive. My love and acceptance of others is mirrored to me in every way. Refuse to be limited in any way by human mind thinking. Your life can be filled with love and joy because your work is a divine idea. Remember to say to yourself every day before going to work, no matter where I am, there is only infinite good, infinite wisdom, infinite harmony, and love.
Whenever someone is in pain, I know they have created a lot of guilt for themselves. Chronic pain comes from unrelenting guilt, often so buried that we are not even aware of it anymore. This guilt must be dissolved before the pain can be eliminated. Guilt is a totally useless emotion. It never makes anyone feel better, nor does it change a situation. Your sentence is now over. Let yourself out of prison. Anger combined with guilt often contributes to accidents. The degree of physical damage lets us know how severely we felt we needed to be punished and how long the sentence. Where this pain occurs in the body gives us a clue to which area of life we feel guilty about. Critical people often attract a lot of criticism because it is their pattern to criticize. They are often cursed with perfectionism, the need to be perfect at all times in every situation. Do you know of anyone on this planet who is perfect? I do not. Why do we set up standards that say that we have to be super person in order to be barely acceptable? That is such a heavy burden to carry. When I was a little girl, I had a very difficult childhood. My parents divorced when I was 18 months. I was raped when I was 5. I became a battered child and grew up in the Depression. My mother was very much a victim, and my stepfather constantly expressed his own brutalized childhood. I grew up having a lot of resentment. I had to create cancer in my own body before I was willing to begin to release that resentment. I am certainly not condoning the behavior of any of the people who mistreated me. However, for me to spend a lifetime just running the old movie, feeling blame and anger and resentment, is not doing me any good in the present moment. I learned that resentment only eats away at me, and it did. In my case, holding on to old blame and feeling resentful for all that they did to me helped to create my disease. Releasing and letting go helped me to heal myself. The past is over and done. We cannot change that now. We can change our attitude toward the past and our thoughts toward the past. How foolish for us to punish ourselves in the present moment because someone else hurt us in the long ago past. It's not worth it. I often say to people who have deep resentment patterns, please begin to dissolve the resentment now when it is relatively easy. Don't wait until you're under the threat of a surgeon's knife and you have to cope with panic too. It is vital that we release foolish, outmoded, or negative ideas and beliefs that do not support us and nourish us. Our concepts of ourselves and of life and of God must support us, not negate us. No matter what our disease, if we choose to believe that we are helpless victims and that it is all hopeless, then the universe will support us in that belief and we will just go down the drain. When people come to me with a problem, I don't care what it is, poor health, lack of money, unfulfilling relationships, or stifled creativity. There is only one thing I ever work on, and that is loving the self. I find that when we really love and accept and approve of ourselves exactly as we are, then everything in life flows. It is impossible to really love until we have forgiven. As the Course in Miracles says, would you rather be happy and well, or would you rather be right? In front of you, see a small stage. And on this stage, place the person you resent the most. It could be past or present, living or dead. When you see this person clearly, forgive them. Say to them, I forgive you for not being the way I wanted you to be. I forgive you and I set you free. Then begin to see good things happening to them. Things that would be meaningful to them. See them smiling and happy. They are still smiling as you allow them to fade away. Now notice a prison door opening before you. Feel chains and shackles drop away from you. As you walk out into the sunshine of life, they are free, and now you are free.